Do you have a secret sister?
I believe I do have a sister out there.
Did you ever see Janet where you thought she was pregnant?
Yes. When the marriage was annulled, that Janet was pregnant. And James believed that as well.
You believe that there's a child.
I think we all believe that James and Janet had a child.
The whispers are back, louder than ever. Allegations that Janet Jackson secretly had a child with James. DeBarge during their short-lived 1984-85. Marriage just won't die, no matter how many years pass. Now James himself is fueling the rumors, with cryptic teases about an upcoming documentary. He calls their marriage the right love at the wrong time, and drops hints about a secret daughter, saying the film will disclose a lot of things so he can end it all at once. That's a loaded statement if there ever was one, essentially doubling down on his claim that a hidden baby exists. And here's the kicker. James hasn't just mentioned this casually over the years. He's been emotional, even tearful, insisting that this child is real. He's not the only one either. Multiple members of the DeBarge family have publicly backed his story. Why risk their credibility unless there's at least some truth buried in the shadows? Let's rewind. Janet eloped with James at just 18 years old in 1984. Those close to her say marrying. James was her escape from her father, Joe Jackson, notorious for his controlling grip on the family. And Joe, furious. The moment he found out, he allegedly went into full damage control mode, doing everything possible to shut that marriage down before it could take root. The marriage collapsed quickly and chaotically. James was battling serious substance issues, leaving Janet in a constant caretaker role when she was barely out of high school.
I'm sure he feels betrayed. I'm sure he feels sad. I'm sure he feels disappointed. I'm sure he feels like he was robbed of that relationship with his daughter. But at the same time, I know my dad loves Janet till this day, and he doesn't want to hurt her.
She was the one getting late-night calls to pick him up, or heading out to track him down when he disappeared. Janet even admitted she'd find pills scattered around the house, scoop them up, and try to flush them, only for the two to end up fighting over them right there on the floor. And let's not forget, she was just 18 years old, living through all this chaos. But just when you think the Janet and James saga couldn't spiral any further, the whispers return, the same ones that have haunted them for decades. Rumors that they secretly had a baby during that brief, explosive marriage. Yes, the talk has been around forever. Claims that Janet gave birth in secret and either had a relative raise the child or put the baby up for adoption entirely in the shadows. And who kept stirring the pot? James DeBarge himself. He's gone on record multiple times insisting that he and Janet had a daughter and that she was deliberately kept from him. In one jaw-dropping interview, he even revealed that a grown woman once reached out, claiming to be his child, and he believed her. Fast forward to 2025, and James is still standing firm. He tells interviewers the rumors are real and promises his upcoming film will finally spill every last drop of the truth.
We're saying that I had a child and I kept it secret. How could I keep a child from their father? I could never do that. That's not right.
Reflecting on their short-lived union, James revealed that their first spark came through his brother, Bobby DeBarge, who happened to be dating Janet's sister, LaToya, at the time. From that moment, the drama was set in motion. James insists their story began much earlier than most people realize. According to him, they were first introduced over the phone when he was just 13 or 14, and Janet was only 11 or 12, already shining as a young star on Good Times. Over the years, they built a strong connection without ever meeting face-to-face, until about 5 years later when sparks flew instantly. From there, James says, they fell for each other hard and fast, so fast that they ran off and eloped. But when asked why it all unraveled, he summed it up in one line: right lovers, wrong time. Both were young, constantly on the road, and rarely in the same place long enough to make things work.
First they were saying my niece Brandy was my daughter, and then I gave it to Jackie to raise. And then, because Randy's daughter looks so much like me, then they started saying it was Savannah.
James admits his substance use was only beginning back then, and hadn't yet become the monster it would eventually be. But he says the outside interference was brutal. Janet's father, Joe Jackson, openly disapproved, and her record company allegedly piled on even more pressure. Then comes the part that keeps this story alive in pop culture, the secret baby rumors. James hasn't outright confirmed or denied them, but he teases that his upcoming movie and documentary may finally address it. And he's not the only one stirring the pot. Over the years, other members of the DeBarge family have claimed they were told, or at least strongly suspected, that a baby existed, only for the truth to be buried by Janet's powerful inner circle. Even James's own daughter, Christina DeBarge, has made bombshell comments, saying she truly believes she has a secret sister out there. If that's true, this family tree might be hiding more than anyone's ready to admit. Christina hasn't been shy about her feelings. She's flat out said she wants to meet the sister she believes exists. She not only stands behind the decades-old rumor, but also suggests that Janet's powerful family may have orchestrated giving the baby away. With the kind of influence the Jacksons had in the 80s, Christina hinted it's entirely possible. The truth was buried to protect Janet's skyrocketing career. And then there's James's sister, Bunny DeBarge, who made one of the boldest claims yet, saying she personally saw Janet pregnant. According to Bunny, Janet suddenly disappeared from the spotlight, and when she reappeared, the bump was gone. But no baby was ever seen. It doesn't stop there. James's brother, Daryl, also went on a radio show and stated without hesitation that the child existed. Even James's mother believed it. She took things further by agreeing to a DNA test with a woman named Tiffany White, who claimed to be Janet and James's secret daughter. That first test ruled James out as Tiffany's father, but James didn't flinch. He remained adamant that somewhere a child of his exists. He's even said no false lead will stop his search. Meanwhile, Janet has kept her stance crystal clear. She has never wavered in denying the story. In her 2022 documentary, she addressed the whispers head-on, calling them both painful and untrue. In her words, "They were saying that I had a child and I kept it secret." But if you listen to the DeBarge side, they're still not buying it. Janet's version of events paints a completely different picture. Janet says the whole mess started back in 1984, on the set of the TV show Fame, when people began whispering that she looked pregnant. In reality, she explained, she had just started taking birth. Control pills, the kind back then loaded with high doses of estrogen and progesterone, known to cause weight gain and water retention. According to Janet, that's all it was. But the rumors caught fire fast. From there, the gossip snowballed into one wild story after another. Suddenly, people were claiming she had a secret baby girl that she handed over to her sister Rebby to raise as her own. Then came whispers that her brother Jackie's adopted daughter, Brandy, brought into the family in 1982, was actually Janet's child in disguise. And if that wasn't messy enough, another theory claimed Rebby's daughter, Stacy, was Janet's too, all because of a supposed resemblance. Janet insists it was all baseless and says she was dealing with real problems during her short-lived marriage to James DeBarge, chief among them, his drug addiction. She even shared a jaw-dropping detail about their wedding night that sounded more like a heartbreak movie than a honeymoon. When we got married and came back to the hotel, she recalled, he said, "Okay, I'll be right back." Janet says she sat there alone in a Grand Rapids, Michigan, hotel room, just 18 years old, waiting for her new husband to return. Hours passed, 3 to be exact. And James? He never came back that night. That's not a life for anyone, Janet reflected. I saw the good in him and I wanted to focus on that instead of the ugliness. I knew he needed help, but I wasn't the help he needed. Still, despite her denials, eagle-eyed followers point out something interesting. Janet has never explicitly said the words, "I did not have a baby." Instead, she's only said it wouldn't be right to keep a child from James. To this day, James and multiple members of the DeBarge family maintain their belief that a child existed and was hidden from them. Some even argue Janet's denials have always sounded rehearsed, perfectly clean, carefully calculated. And you have to remember, she was just 18 when she married James. And she came from one of the most image-obsessed, tightly controlled families in the entire industry. So the big question hangs in the air. If she had been pregnant, would her handlers have rushed to bury it? Could a secret pregnancy have been locked away under NDAs, silenced by family pressure, or even threats of career destruction? And here's where it gets even juicier. People who claim they were around at the time, along with longtime fans of both Janet and the DeBarge Family swear they remember seeing photos of Janet looking 5 or 6 months pregnant, yet no baby was ever announced. One story that refuses to fade involves the American Music Awards, where Janet appeared on stage with her brothers. Witnesses say she had a visible baby bump, and in a quick, almost too perfect move, Tito reportedly shifted his jacket over his arm to block her midsection from the cameras. But according to those who watched it live, the bump was still noticeable. Another woman claimed her aunt worked at the convalescent hospital where the Jackson family's grandmother stayed back in the 80s, and she swore Janet walked in visibly pregnant. According to her, there was no mistaking it. But whether Janet later lost the baby or was hiding the baby, she couldn't say. What she did say was clear: Janet was definitely pregnant. Now here we are in 2025, with James once again standing firm, saying he does have a child out there. And the public? Split. Some brush it off as myth, but more and more are starting to wonder if maybe he's been telling the truth all along. So maybe the real question isn't if there was a baby. Maybe it's why Janet has fought so hard to convince the world there wasn't. If this child exists, wouldn't she miss them? Wouldn't she want to know them? Maybe, just maybe, those answers are finally coming. James promises his documentary will drop soon, and according to him, it will clear everything up once and for all. What do you think? Was there really a secret baby? Or is this one of the biggest celebrity myths of all time? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive into Hollywood's biggest mysteries.